With technology constantly evolving, how can businesses stay ahead of the curve? I'm Mike Loader. Crypto Corner starts right now. Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Corner, presented by the team at BTC Markets, where each episode we go about detailing those crypto market trends. I'm going to hand it over to Carolyn Bowler, CEO of BTC Markets. Take it away.
Hi everybody, thanks so much for coming along to join us here today at Crypto Corner. We're talking to Cohen, who is the founder of Emerging Talent. Karen, thank you so much for joining us today. You are a woman who wears many hats. You are into diversity and inclusion, you're into community engagement, you're into personal development, you're into recruitment and all manner of different things. So thank you so much for coming along and agreeing to talk to us about all of those different themes. We only have a few minutes though, so we'll try and cram as much in as we possibly can. So what I wanted to talk to you first of all is actually around community engagement and what it is exactly that you do. What's your special sauce to community engagement, particularly in the tech sector?
Thanks for having me, Caroline, and BTC Markets. One of the things that I'm incredibly passionate about is inclusiveness. So we run a group called Women in Emerging Tech, and we try and connect humans, particularly women, to the complexity of the wording and the concepts of technology. So they're not scared to come along, join in, and learn about blockchain, learn about AI, learn about crypto, cybersecurity, all those scary things that we have, and just make it more welcoming. So inclusiveness is the key.
And what exactly is it that you do then to help facilitate that inclusivity? I mean, you know, it is, as you say, quite intimidating, and certainly for myself when I talk to other women who are outside of technology, even just the word cryptocurrency, seems so off-putting. So what is it that you do in particular that to help break down those perceptions?
So creating community is really important on a number of levels. We run events, we run education, we run in-person events, but also we run lots of WhatsApp groups and little chats on the side to make sure that women feel that they're connected. And we always include male allies as well, because they're going to lead the way and help include more women in the space as well. So when it comes to crypto, I think we can all agree it's a little bit baffling for women. And there's a stat out at the moment, I think about 40% of Americans are owning crypto and 29% of women are owning crypto in America. So we are moving the dial and we're finding that it is a lot more inclusive than it used to be. And I think you would agree with BTC Markets that we're really looking at what is the user experience for crypto and how can we make it more friendly for women.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I mean, without dating myself, I remember the early days of the internet and the language around it was so foreign and so cryptic that the thought of being involved in any capacity was just put into the too hard basket and moved on. And yet here we are today, where it's just, such a part of our lives. When you are, when you kind of look at the women who are involved and other, minority groups that are involved in technology here in Australia, are the thematics that come through, I mean, apart from the language, are there other thematics that come through that they have identified as potential roadblocks? Or has there been any surveys kind of done that kind of look at those questions more holistically?
Yeah, I think the basics, like how to sign on, we have a 12 seed password that we've got to think about, like where we're going to put that, where we're going to write it. We're not supposed to take a photo of it. We're not supposed to store it on our computer. Do I put it under my bed? Do I put it in a safe? So all those things that have started with crypto and have continued, we really need to look at how is that user experience affecting those that are new and want to join in. So I'm looking at the future and hoping that we'll have a lot more of a Web 2 experience, be a lot more inclusive in the way that we can log on. And I noticed like BTC Markets has come up with an app, and many of the other Web 3 companies have come up with apps that feel like Web 2 but have a Web 3 underlying, so you don't have to deal with a lot of those hard situations of writing down codes and remembering them.
And then, wearing your HR hat in particular, what's been your, I suppose, observations of the industry when it comes to HR in particular? Cryptocurrency, if we can focus on that, has got a bit of a bad rep. It's the crypto bro perception of lots of white blokes wearing hoodies in their late 20s, smashing cans of Coca-Cola and working late into the night. Do you think that perception is still true? Or how do you as a HR professional try to bring some of that maturity into the space, and certainly here in Australia? What's your experience been like?
I think there's multiple levels of the crypto experience. So yes, there's the crypto bros who still love to, degen in and buy NFTs and risk. And then there's a mature part of the market as well. So when it comes to HR, the most interesting perspective is around payments, because we know that the greatest use of crypto is global payments. And that's still true around blockchain and HR as well. So one of the companies that I worked for a few years ago, they actually had to transfer people's money from crypto into fiat into their wages globally. So that was a massive issue, like thinking about each country, its tax, how we're going to get the money into each bank account. But now it's kind of gotten easier when you look at something like a stable coin. So if a company wants to pay all their stuff all around the world with a stable coin to their wallet, and then that person can cash that in their country, it's just gotten a lot easier. So payments is still, and wages is still a really interesting space for crypto and HR.
I think that's a really good point. And certainly when I try to explain to people about some of the benefits of crypto, that payments piece in particular, I can understand that really quickly and really easily. The issues in particular around cross-border transfers, and when you explain about how quickly it can be done, how secure it can be, and how inexpensive it can be, suddenly it's like a light bulb moment for lots of people. So, I take on board your point, particularly from a HR perspective, some of the benefits to crypto. You also, with that, a lot of work that you do, not just in terms of D&I, but also actual development of employees and development of skills. For businesses that are either, not currently in technology or are kind of in and around the edges of technology, how do they get some of that development and some of those confidence amongst their employees to start looking into technology as, incorporating more of that into their career skill set?
So I think it's a really great time in education, because we no longer have to have these 3 or 4 year degrees, expensive HECS bills. We're seeing that movement of micro education and being able to learn small things. So at the moment, for instance, at Emerging Tech Hub, which is our education piece, we're doing free AI training on how to use AI for productivity, both in personal and work. So we can get onto those sorts of tools and lots of cheap and free education and move with the program. It is exciting, and people can just keep adding those micro skills. They don't need to do a 3 or 4 year degree.
And I think that's, to your point, it's about nurturing and developing over time, rather than feeling as though you have to come in as the finished product. And certainly for myself as a woman, and talking to other women, when we see job descriptions in particular, there is that sense of, I only touch about 90% of their criteria, and because I don't have that final 10%, I won't put my CV in. I won't go for those types of jobs. And I think that, as you said, if you have that pathway towards micro-credentialing and just feeling a little bit more confident, then perhaps you'll see more women putting their CVs forward for these technology roles.
Just getting ready. Sorry.
One of the questions just with that actually is a question around how do we get more women into these technology roles, or how do you explain to other women that there are the pathways? You don't necessarily have to be a developer to work for a technology company.
Yeah, so I think we all feel, not just women, but we all feel a bit of imposter syndrome, particularly around emerging tech. So it's about building confidence. And I think one of the important things is getting a mentor, whether it's paid or unpaid, and just having someone to look up to, particularly another woman or a man that's going to be helping you along the way with your career, a sponsor or a mentor, to make you feel confident enough to get in there and just to try. And I think one of the big things is being experiential and just trying, like getting on there, trying a wallet, trying crypto, but also trying AI, trying all the different tools and not being afraid to put your hands on there. You're not going to break it.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. Like, go in and dabble with ChatGPT. You can't unplug it. You're not going to do anything to it that it's going to fall over. And it's true even when we talk about cryptocurrency, and I explain to people that they can just, dip your toe in, try small amounts and see how you get comfortable with it before you start doing, any kind of larger trades, or feel like you have to be neck deep in order to be, part of the crypto world, I suppose, really, more importantly. So tell me then, how do you see, I suppose, the hiring environment here in Australia changing, particularly for technology hires, in the next 12 to 18 months? We've certainly seen it, we've gone through some crunch times in recent years. How do you see that dynamic changing?
Yeah, it's been an interesting first quarter of the year. I think we've seen quite a lot of tech layoffs, and it is quite frightening for people, I think. But I do see that this is an industry that's going to keep growing. I just also think that there's going to be an expectation that there'll be less people working but more productively. So we really need to be hands-on on those tools to be part of the workforce and not get left behind. So it's really important to train your staff, but also to think about the confidentiality of AI and whether you want to have a closed AI system that's your own system, or you're happy for everyone just to hop on ChatGPT as they would Google. And businesses really need to be thinking about what the future of productivity looks like for their staff.
I think too, like one of the conversations that we're having at BTC Markets is around work from home versus being in the office. Now, we've landed on a hybrid model where we're 2 days in the office and 3 days in working from home, or certainly outside the office. And we're trying to iterate on that. We're trying to find out what works for us, and it may not necessarily be the same model in continuing. But what's been your experience as a HR professional looking at other businesses kind of more broadly tackle with that post-COVID?
It's a really good point, because I think Melbourne really suffered. We had 2 years of being in-house and we got used to working from home. And so you've got that stickiness. People expect some form of hybrid, whereas a lot of the other states didn't have so long at home. They didn't have so much to break. I think that you need to think about employee retention. So what is going to keep your staff happy? How are you going to keep your key staff happy? And if that means being flexible, great. We've learned that we can do it. We've learned that we've got Zoom and we've got all these other tools which allow us to work from home. But I do think there's still, that water cooler culture where we do want to meet each other and have team meetings. So finding that nice balance where maybe it's 1 day a week where everyone has to come in, and a couple of days from home, and being flexible is really difficult for employers, but I think it'll be worth it in the long run around retention.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Karen, founder of Emerging Talent, for joining us here today. And thank you so much for our audience as well for coming along. Thank you so much.
You're watching Ticker. We'll have more in just a few minutes.